What is going on, everybody? This is the Daily Fantasy Show brought to you by DFO. It is Tuesday, December 12th. I am Josh. This is my main man, Avery. We're here. Yep. You're still a pet.
This is my
Yeah.
farm.
That's your farm. We're going to break.
This is Santa.
Yeah. Okay.
This is my This is my toy.
Why was I so mad about this? Why would you send out those guys in the 3-on-3? Don't you want to send out your talented skaters like, I don't know, Dylan Larkin, Anthony Mantha, Anthony Ciu, Furk, Nyquist, Tatar? What are you doing? You're taking over the set? Okay. Anyway, we have this 9-game slate tonight. Yeah, Cronwall. No, not Cronwall. He sucks. But,
Cornwall.
yeah. We have a 9-game slate tonight. It's a kind of a tricky slate, so I'll try to break this down for you. I think there's some pretty chalky landing spots here. We'll talk about it. Dennis Joseph for the lock. Maybe. So let's do it. What do you think, Avery? Should we go right into it?
Yeah.
Okay. First game of the night, we have the Ottawa Senators traveling to Buffalo to face the Sabres. Excuse me. It's going to be Mike. Okay. It's going to be. Here, you want to come sit over here?
No.
All right. Good times. It's going to be Mike Condon against Robin Leonard. The news for Buffalo. Okay. There you go. The news for Buffalo is they split up Eichel and Kane at even strength.
Okay.
Yeah. Avery. The top line is now Eichel, Benoit Pouliot, and Jason Pominville. The second line is Ryan O'Reilly, Zegmas Gregertsons, and Kyle Okposo. And the third line is Evan Rodriguez, Evander Kane, and Sam Reinhart.
It's Kane?
Yeah. You like Evander Kane tonight? No? Yeah?
I got fancy.
Yeah, so for me, I mean...
No.
Okay. So for me, I think if I'm going to target a line in this game, it's going to, as a whole, it's going to be the third line of Buffalo. Kane, Evan Rodriguez, and Sam Reinhart. Are they going to be popular? I'm not sure. I've gone back and forth about this a million times. Avery, can you sit?
No.
I don't
want to.
Alrighty then.
I don't want to.
You know, they're really cheap. E-Rod is, what, $3,500, something like that.
Who's that?
I don't know. It's interesting because I think, you know... okay. I think people are going to use Eichel for sure if they're going to use Buffalo as like a single bullet or put him with Pominville with Ristolainen. And I think that's viable as well. But if you're talking about a full line, I think, you know, E-Rod. Jesus. Yeah, no. E-Rod, Kane, and Reinhart is the line to go. They're cheap. They're under $14,000. Kane's like half the price of the line himself, but I'm not a huge fan of this game overall. Ottawa is just a disaster. I'm not a huge fan as... Yeah, I can see Kane as one-off. I prefer Eichel, though. Not a huge fan of Buffalo tonight. I mean, I get the merit behind using... he just trucks through Benadryl. Yes, Leonard is definitely in play in GPPs. I ranked him as my top goalie of the night. Yeah, so I'm gonna be
This is.
having a fair share of Leonard. I think Ottawa's just a train wreck. You saw that they asked all their top players to submit
My
their the list for their no trades. Looks like Ottawa is on the verge of blowing up their team. Looks like they're playing with no effort. They're just going through the motions. So I think Leonard is definitely in play. Yeah, Ristolainen in cash is definitely a good option. He's only 4,600. That is really cheap. I think you can go there for sure. Buddy, how you feeling after that?
I'm better.
Better? Can imagine. You put a hole in the wall. But,
Huh?
yeah, so Buffalo 3 would be my top line of stack.
Buffalo?
In a vacuum, I like Eichel the best.
Buffalo, Daddy? Buffalo?
Avery, just try to relax. You want to go upstairs, get your iPad, and come back down? Okay, go. This will buy me a lot of time. Go get it. Sweet. So yeah, that's my feelings on Buffalo. I think Leonard in GPPs is definitely in play. If you don't want to spend up for goalie, I think maybe you can even use him in cash. Yeah, I wish Ryan O'Reilly had a couple line mates. He is with Okposo, but that's kind of brutal. On the Ottawa side, I guess you can make a case for the top line, but like they haven't been doing anything. Broussard, Smith, and Stone, they're really cheap now. They're like 14 grand. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Ottawa tonight, and it's probably going to come back to burn me because I'm all in on Leonard. But yeah, Eric Carlson's 5,900, which is insane. Ottawa's power play is all over the place. The team's a mess. I think Guy Boucher's lost the locker room. I just think it's a big mess. So I think you can definitely target Ottawa from the Buffalo side tonight. So let's move on to the next game of the night. I'll get to Fleury. It's LA Kings traveling to New Jersey to face the Devils. What? Okay. You can't get it. All right, so come back down. So the big news here is Kempe's out. He's sick. I thought maybe Toffoli was going to be with Kopitar, but that's not the case. Looks like they moved Nick Shore up in between Pearson and Toffoli, which is a big disappointment because I really wanted to use the Kings tonight, but these lines are unplayable except for the top line. I think All right, so come down. I think you can, maybe power play. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me lay him down. I'll be right back. We just gotta lay down. Just be patient, okay? Okay? Watch your iPad. Okay. That's my big finger. Okay. So I really wanted to... Wow, now I'm stuck. So I really wanted to play the Kings tonight, but yeah, their lines are kind of unplayable at even strength. So, I mean, if I'm still going to use the Kings, it's going to be the way I like to attack teams with bad even strength lines. It's going to be a power play stack. I'll use like Kopitar with Toffoli and Muzzin or Doughty and hope, maybe Toffoli moves up with Kopitar during the game. But other than that, not really thrilled about the Kings tonight. Kopitar, wow, I am winded. I am out of shape. I haven't gotten to St. Louis yet. I haven't got there yet. But Kopitar 7,200. It's pretty expensive. Yeah, I think he's okay in cash.
Okay.
But for GPPs, I want the power play exposure for the Kings.
Daddy!
But other than that, Kempe's out. I don't really like Nick Shore in between Pearson and Toffoli. So for me, it's going to be LA Kings 1 or bust in GPPs if I'm going to use a full line. Otherwise, I'm going to use power play. Okay. On the New Jersey side, I need to regroup here. I don't really have too much interest in the Devils tonight. Even though the Kings look bad on paper, 5 with their even strength lines, they are a good team. Quick is a good goalie, even though I think he's overrated. The only real interest I'd have in the Devils tonight is maybe Taylor Hall as a one-off. He's 6,700. His price has gone down a little bit. Or even a Jesper Bratt at 4,200 if you need the salary savings. But other than that, I'm not really interested in the Devils tonight. They look a little out of sync since they traded Henrique. Vatanen hasn't really come in and been the player they thought he was. Maybe he just needs a little time to adjust. And I think, down the road they're going to be okay. But this Kings team is good. This is a tough matchup for the Devils, so my interest in them is pretty low. Quick at 7,900, I think, is in play in both formats. Schneider in a GPP is interesting. The Kings lines are not good. But Schneider at 7,600, I'd rather go Dubnyk or someone around that price. I'd actually, rather spend the 300 for Quick. But I think both goalies are definitely in play in GPPs for me. So let's move on to the next game tonight. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs traveling to Philly to face the Flyers. It's going to be Freddie Anderson against Brian Elliott is probable for the game. Yeah, Philly.
Oh.
That's your dog's name.
What about Hans?
I don't know where Hans is. Big news in this game, Austin Matthews is going to be out. One of my favorite plays of the night is the Flyers top line. Surprise, surprise. I think they've really, played really well since Simmons has moved up to the top line. Couturier, Giroux, and Simmons. Simmons is $1,300 cheaper than Voracek, so it isn't overly pricey. You can get them in fairly easily. Thoughts on Raffle? I'm not a huge Raffle guy. I don't mind that second line. Depends who they match up with, really. It is kind of interesting with Matthews out to see how... I don't even know if the Flyers hard match at home. I believe they do with their top lines. But not big on Raffle. I'd rather use, just like a Voracek, Provorov mini if I'm using the second line. But the top line is definitely in play for me. Ghost is only 5,100. Provorov is 4,800. I think both are in play. That's really all I really like from Philly. I mean, I don't think you need to dig into the third line at all. I mean, they are 13,000, so it's not like you're getting massive savings. On the flip side of this game, I don't know. Let's see. Why? Yeah, the Bozak, JVR, Marner line is definitely going to be the top play for me. I'm not high on them tonight, but especially, because Bozak is 3,600. He's coming off his best game of the season. I think he's going to have a lot more ownership than he should. And maybe that was his ceiling game, but again, maybe Marner is starting to pick it up and he's going to be carrying Bozak, so maybe it is a good play. But for me, I'm not overly thrilled about using the Maple Leafs without Matthews in tonight. Yeah, I mean, Brian Elliott is a better goalie than people give him credit for, but, he is the Flyers goalie, and I don't like using Flyers goalies, so Toronto is definitely in play. 7,300 though for Brian Elliott. I think you can maybe use him in a GPP. I wouldn't be thrilled about it. Yeah, I think Game Stack is in play as well. Freddie at 8,000. He's going to see the shot volume, but at that price, I'm not really interested in GPPs or cash really. If you're using the Maple Leafs, and you want to spend the 8,000 for Freddie, I think it is a contrarian play for sure. Yeah, Fiplo, Raffle, and Voracek have been okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they just muck it up in the neutral zone. They slow down the pace really hard. It's like, while I like the Flyers, I'm not overly thrilled about the Maple Leafs. I can see this being like a 4-2 game, something like that. But I'm not expecting like a 6-4, 5-3 type of game like the Leafs have been playing earlier in the year. So let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Colorado Avalanche traveling to Washington to face the Capitals. Both these teams are on a back-to-back. I would assume it's going to be Braden Holtby. He got pulled early in the game yesterday. Yeah, that's true, but, we'll see. You really need 2 goals from any line you play anyway to win anything, to have a chance to win anything. So it's probably going to be Braden Holtby against Semyon Varlamov. I don't know how chalky. I hope Washington's kind of chalky, actually, but that top line's definitely in play, except for Tom Wilson. I mean, I get why people are playing Tom Wilson now. He has been playing better of late, but you got a sticker on me. They are going up against Colorado 1 and Landeskog. That line, McKinnon, Landeskog, and Mikko Rantanen are very good at limiting high-danger scoring chances. It's not the best matchup. It is Ovechkin. He is going to see his office on the power play. But Washington's definitely a play. I'm not a huge fan of them on a back-to-back. Ovi isn't getting any younger, but they're in play. Colorado 1 is also in play. They're cheaper. I think they are a little bit better play. They are on a back-to-back, but they are, younger. Landeskog is not, well, Landeskog is the elder statesman of them, but he's not exactly old. It's probably going to be Holtby because Holtby got pulled early in the second period yesterday. So yeah, Colorado 1's definitely in play for me, especially on this slate. I think they're going to go overlooked a bit considering they played yesterday and didn't do anything. But, this is a good matchup from an offensive standpoint for Colorado 1. If you're going to use them, Tyson Barrie, Eric Johnson, preference. Eric Johnson gets the block shots. Tyson Barrie gets the power play time. up to you. They're almost the same price. You know, John Carlson, 6,300. If you're using Washington, it makes sense. Otherwise, you know, that's a little pricey. It's a little pricey for me to be, you know, single bulleting somebody at that price. I'd rather use other people. But Carlson does make sense if you are using Washington. In net, I don't know. I kind of like Varlamov in GPPs. It is kind of scary using him. It always is scary using him, but he is like the definition of a GPP goalie. He's going to see the shot volume. You know, it's just a matter of him stopping the shot volume. I think this is a winnable game for the Avalanche, as crazy as that sounds. You just hope it's kind of low scoring. If you need the salary relief, I think, you know, I would prefer Leonard at 7,200, but if you need to dig deeper, I think Varlamov is not bad at 7,000. Holtby at 8,100, coming off a game where he got pulled. You know, you can look at it two ways. He's either going to continue to struggle or he's going to be pissed off and go bananas. I'm not going to try to guess what that's going to be, but at his price, at 8,100, that's a fade for me. Especially with the teams I'm looking at, I can't be spending 8,100 for a goalie tonight. So let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Edmonton Oilers traveling to Columbus to face the Blue Jackets. It's going to be Brossois against more than likely Bobrovsky. I don't know. From an offensive side, I'm not overly thrilled with this game at all. You know, the Columbus top line is in play. They're cheap. You know, they're a little over 14,000 full stack. They've been good. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Josh Anderson, and Artemi Panarin. I think they're in play. On the blue line, Pierre-Luc. Lock it in. I don't know what that was. I think that was a gang sign. I think you can use both Werenski and Seth Jones on the blue line. I think, you know, picking one is always difficult. Using both is always a little contrarian and could be the play. I don't know why I do that. I sound like a Russian fighter or something when I do that, but I don't know if Atkinson's going to be back tonight. I would assume he's going to be back. You never know with Torts. I have not. I have finished second in a couple of qualifiers. I hope to make it this year. Atkinson is back. You know, that second line, I don't mind. Maybe, you know, Lights of Fire under Cam, but, you know, Wenberg, Foligno. Oh, Cam's with Jenner and Dubinsky, right? Yeah. You got to see those lines because who knows? Jenner's kind of in the doghouse. He might move down to the fourth line, so it's hard to get lines out of Torts before the game. So for me, you know, for Columbus, just to play it safe, only the top line for me. Both defensemen are definitely in play. Edmonton, I'm not. It's his comfort. He's had a rough beginning to his life, so it keeps him calm. So if I take it out, he'll start screaming. So Edmonton for me, I don't know. Not really thrilled about Edmonton tonight. You want to use McDavid as a one-off? Fine. I'm never going to talk you off. McDavid. Avery, you're going to fall.
No. No.
There you go. Okay. Again, not thrilled with their even strength lines at all. Not yet. We're almost done. Okay, then we'll go upstairs. Slepyshev might be back, I think. I don't know what that does. It just makes me more annoyed at their even strength lines until they put McDavid and Draisaitl back together. Until then, you know, it's really just McDavid as a single bullet, and that's it for me for Edmonton. On the blue line, you want to use Clefbaum at 4,700. I think that is viable. Chris Russell's over 4,000 now, which is kind of crazy. So I prefer to go Nurse at 3,900 and Benning at 3,200. So that's really my interest in Edmonton. In net, I don't have much interest in Brossois, even though I don't really like this game from a DFS standpoint at all. I also am not overly thrilled with Bob tonight at his price. You never know, because like in the middle of the game, Edmonton can they can mix up their lines and powerhouse them back together. You know, if they put Draisaitl back with McDavid, you know, that could get ugly for Columbus. Columbus's power play has been absolutely terrible, but I think, you know, they can score. So I'm hoping, you know, I'm fading the goalies from this game. I don't know if it's going to burn me with Bob, but at his price, it's a fade for me.
Anyone there?
So let's move on to the next game of the night. The Tampa Bay Lightning traveling to St. Louis to face the Blues. It's going to be Vasi against Jake Allen, most likely. He's probable. Yeah, Vince Dunn at 2,900 is definitely in play with Pietrangelo out. So, you know, there's a couple guys, you know. Pyarko at 5,400 is definitely in play. Vince Dunn at 2,900 is definitely a viable punt. I needed to go even deeper tonight because of the people I'm trying to load into my lineup. Jordan Schmaltz at 2,600 is making his NHL debut for the Blues. 2,600 in playing. He does have pretty decent numbers in the minors. I'm not expecting too much, but, you know, my preferred play would be Dunn if you need a punt. From the Blues perspective, you know, for me, if I'm going to use the Blues tonight, it's going to be Stastny, Sobotka, and Tarasenko just because I want the best player on the ice. Tarasenko is dynamic, or for at least the Blues. Tarasenko is dynamic. You know, he's good with Stastny. Sobotka does shoot the puck. I don't have $2. Oh, yeah, I do. There you go. You're welcome. Yeah, so, you know, even though Tampa Bay is a really good team, they do tend to give up some pretty dangerous scoring chances, and I want the most dangerous player on the ice for the Blues, which is Tarasenko. I get if you want to use the second line, Schenn, Steen, and Dmitry Yaskin. Schenn has been out of this world recently. He's almost 7,000, and I think he's playing above his head. I don't know if that's a good reason to fade him or not, but for me, I'm going to lean towards the top line. I'd probably go Schmaltz. I don't mind Bowie, but it is a back-to-back, and he doesn't, you know, he's probably only going to see 12, 13 minutes.
Fire.
You could also, you know, power play stack the Blues if you want to go there. I mean, this is kind of a tough matchup for the Blues with, you know, Pietrangelo out. The Lightning are a good team.
I got an idea.
So.
Go fire out.
Yeah. So for me, it's going to be the top line with Dunn or Schmaltz or even Pyarko. And then the second line that I'm not as thrilled about. On the Tampa Bay side, this is interesting for me. I've been going back and forth about the Lightning for a while here today because the top line's back together, Stamkos, Kucherov, and Nemestikov. And they're so expensive. They're pretty much $22,000 the full stack on DraftKings. So are they going to go overlook tonight? I don't know if they're going to go overlook tonight. That's the bad choice. That's the bad wording. Are they going to be lower owned tonight because of, you know, Philadelphia, because of Chicago, because of Minnesota, because of Calgary, because of Vegas? I think they're going to go lower owned tonight. But this is a good matchup. I don't think people understand how good Alex Pietrangelo is. You know, after I don't know. I've been going back and forth on it all day because after Shattenkirk got traded from the Blues last year, the numbers Alex Pietrangelo puts up on the offensive and defensive side have just been crazy. Also, Jay Bouwmeester's out. He's one of their better defensive defensemen.
No fire.
You know, so that, you know, I don't know. This could be like a really good spot to get a contrarian Tampa Bay. They are really pricey. That's the only thing. So I think they are going to be low owned.
But how
So I don't know. So yeah, they do need a minimum of 2 goals, but they're certainly capable of doing it. I think, you know, early in the year, people are playing them at 30, 40%, and it's still paying off. Maybe if you can get them at 10, 15%, I think this is a perceived tough matchup, and it still might be, but I don't know. Man, I've been going back and forth about the Lightning all day. Yeah, Yanni Gourde. I do like Yanni Gourde. He's going to vulture him off the power play, yeah. Gourde is still on the third line at evens, right? Yeah, that kind of sucks. The second line is, hold on, loading. Computer so. Braden Point, Palat, and Tyler Johnson, which I like as well, but I'd prefer Gourde up there. But, so for me, you know, I'm going to have to, you know, dig a little bit deeper on the ownership. But if Tampa Bay 1 is going to be lower owned, I think I want some exposure to them. Just because it's a tough perceived matchup. If you want to use Hedman as a one-off, okay, 6,200. My preferred defenseman on the Lightning is Mikhail Sergachev. I know he doesn't correlate on the top power play, but he, you know, if you want the one-off, he is on power play too. He sees a good amount of time at even strength. He's 1,600 less than Hedman. I completely understand if you want to use Hedman. He's on top power plays. He's top minutes. So, but for me, I'm a Sergachev guy. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, the Canadians are. Well, that's the story for another time. Fassi is 7,900. GPP only. Yeah, the Blues are banged up. Jake Allen. Again, I think Jake Allen might have some ownership at 7,500, which maybe not because it is the Tampa Bay and they are without a couple of the defensemen. It is a scary proposition to use him in GPPs at 7,500, but you know, I'd rather use, you know, a Dubnyk or a Leonard around that price. You're okay? So let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Minnesota Wild, or the Calgary Flames traveling to Minnesota to face the Wild. I don't really go off past performances, but that is a decent stat. It is going to be Devin Dubnyk against Mike Smith. Both Minnesota. Let's talk about Minnesota first. Both Minnesota lines are in play for me tonight. I think Koivu is going to be hard matched with Johnny Gaudreau, which is better than going up against the 3M line. I think. You know, I would assume that the Wild, and I'll have to check AD's line matching article soon. I would assume that the Wild are going to try to get Matt Cullen and Marcus Foligno out against the 3M line. I'm not positive on that. Could be the Stahl line. If it is the Stahl line, my preferred play from the Wild would be Koivu, Zucker, and Coyle. If, you know, Stahl isn't going to be matched up against 3M, I like Stahl, Nino, and Granlund for sure. It's all a matter of matchup for me and who avoids 3M. I know Spurgeon skated this morning. Yeah, I don't like how they do their power play either, but yeah, there's no, I can't really, you know, do anything about it. Spurgeon skated this morning. I still think he's out, so it's either going to be Suter at 4,800 or Dumba at 4,400 for me. Yeah, he's out. So, you know, with the price differential, I'd probably pay the 400 to get Suter. But I don't mind Dumba at all, 4,400. Yeah, he's playing a boatload.
Sorry.
Even though the Gaudreau line is going to be out against the Koivu line, I still think they're a good play tonight. Again, I don't really like using them on the road. I also don't like using them against Dubnyk. I do like Dubnyk tonight, but I think the ones might go a little bit under-owned. I could be wrong there. I've had a tough time grasping ownership today because this slate is all over the place.
Gotcha.
They are a bit pricey, but I think they are a good play tonight. Koivu is a good defensive center, but he's not the player he was a couple years, even as far back as a couple years ago. So I think Calgary 1 is in play for that reason. Calgary 2, I don't know what you want me to say about them. They're super cheap. Their advanced numbers are great. They're going to break out at some point, so they fit with all the expensive lines. So you got to, you know, if you've been on them, I think you can keep going back there. They're under 13,000 the full stack. At some point, they're going to go bonkers.
I'll go get some help.
So off he went. So that's my awesome analysis on the second line of Calgary.
Would you like to explore a cave?
I'm not really a big fan of the third line at all. And if you want to use Bennett, okay, but I don't think you really need to go there tonight. Yeah. Dougie is now cheaper than Giordano. It's a matter of preference. I can never get them right. It's up to you if you're using Calgary. It's a preference play. Dubnyk at 7,800 I think is definitely in play in GPPs. You can make a case as well for cash. It does worry me a bit in cash, you know, going against the Flames, but yeah, I think you can make the case. Mike Smith at 7,300 is also an interesting GPP play. I know the Minnesota lines haven't been together too much at evens. Their numbers haven't been great. It is a small sample size.
George's dragon flew down from the sky and landed.
But if you are using the Flames, I think you can go to Mike Smith in GPPs. I wouldn't use him as a one-off goalie. I'd much prefer to use Leonard. Let's move on to the second to last game of the night. They're all early games tonight, except for Vegas, which is at 10. This is an 8:30 start. The Florida Panthers, that is me. The Florida Panthers traveling to Chicago to face the Hawks. The Panthers are on a back-to-back. It's going to be Corey Crawford, and I'm going to assume it's going to be Reimer going on a back-to-back, which is not good. I think Chicago is going to be the chalk of the night. It's
the evil dragon roared to scare off George.
I don't know if Taze is going to be hard matched up against the Barkov line.
George's dragon roared so loud.
It'll be interesting to see what they do there. Okay,
Well done.
we're almost done, okay?
You really showed him who the best dragon is.
Yeah, Toes is going to get.
Dragon going to say,
FanDuel is showing Sateri.
I know, said Pepper.
I haven't seen anything yet.
In this cave,
If Brock is here, maybe he will
Solo had a new dragon protector.
let me know.
And there goes
I think both top lines for Chicago are definitely in play tonight. I almost like the Taze line better, just because DeBrincat and Sod are so fast and they shoot the puck. You know, they actually have the better numbers as a line going into tonight, but I think it is really a matter of preference. I think the Kane line's definitely in play. Artem Anisimov and Kane as a mini. Yeah, they're probably going to negate each other a little bit. Yeah, more open ice for... I go Kane. I don't really like Ovechkin tonight. You know, that third line is interesting, like people have been pointing out.
Oh no, Jeff is out of control.
Do you need to go there? I'm not sure. But if you want to use Vinny, I definitely can get on board with playing Vinny. He's 3,200. He's been shooting the puck a bunch. He is super fast. He's gonna get just absolute garbage from the Panthers. Yeah. If you're using the Blackhawks, which I would imagine a lot of you are, Gustav Forsling definitely would be the defenseman of choice for me. Cody Franson's out. You want to spend up for Keith at 5,200? I think that's okay. I'd rather use Forsling.
Looks like you're out of races, Doc, said Iron Man.
Okay.
Not quite.
I'm gonna
he replied. I'll be the new racer
Just
for
kidding.
our team. You know you need a partner.
On the Florida side, I don't like using. Yeah, don't play Dan Girardi Seabrook.
There must be someone else.
I think Vinny's going to be low owned. I don't think he's going to have a lot of ownership, but I think you can get him at 2.3% or something like that. On the Florida side, not a huge fan of teams back to back on the road. I'm probably going to fade Florida one tonight, even though it is Chicago, even though their defense isn't very good. Beyond the top line of Florida, their depth is bad. Not a huge fan of Florida tonight. In net, you want to pay for Corey Crawford at 8,300. I definitely can see the merit in cash and in GPPs. Per my brand, I am not going to be spending 8,300 for Corey Crawford, but I could definitely see a case where you have the salary to play Crawford tonight. Whoever the goalie is for Florida, I'm not gonna play anyone from Florida tonight in net. Whether it's Reimer, whether it's Sateri, I'm not gonna do it. So let's move on to the last game of the night. We have the Carolina Hurricanes traveling to Vegas to play the Knights. I believe Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be back tonight for the Knights. And I think Scott Darling is going on a back-to-back. So I don't really like stacking against Carolina, but they are on a back-to-back. It is going to be their Darling going back-to-back. You definitely can make a case for the top line of Vegas. Oh, is Ward probable? Either way, it's just not a pretty situation. If Ward's probable, the line for me is going to be, Carlson, Marchessault, and Smith. If you're going to use Vegas tonight, you can make a case for Hall, Perron, and Neal. Not as high on them. Shea Theodore is going to be back in the lineup tonight. Ward always gets lit up. He's Cam Ward. He puts up good numbers in October, and that's it. Theodore's going to be back for Vegas tonight. He's 3,800. I think he's in play. Yeah, Neal's been heating up too. So you definitely can go double stack in this game. In net, Fleury at 7,800 is a wait and see for me. I know Carolina's on a back-to-back on the road, and that's the type of game where I want to use the goalie, but Fleury's been off for a long time. He's probably going to need a game or two to settle in. It's more of a GPP play for me. Not sure. I think Vegas will be popular tonight. Not anything overly epic. I think you can use the power play stack for sure. I like that as an idea. On the Carolina side, not a huge fan. Even though Fleury may be rusty, Vegas is a tough place to play. They're on a back-to-back on the road. Who knows? Maybe they went on a party last night once they got in from Anaheim. So for me, I'm probably going to fade the Hurricanes tonight. So that is the 9-game slate. I hope I cleared some stuff up. I'll take a couple questions before Avery goes completely ham.
No, it's not.
They do put a lot of rubber on net, but Theo or Forsling. My top 3 stacks, I think one of the lines from Minnesota, whoever doesn't get the 3M line. I have to say Tampa because especially they're going to be lower owned. I want to say Tampa. I want to say Philly. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my process. I narrow down teams, and I have to, cut some teams that I want to play, but I have to live the results. This is one of the worst slates I've ever seen, especially for a 9-gamer. Yeah, I think you can go 4-3-1. I've been having success with 3-3-2. Backstrom, Eric Stahl, or Kopi, DeBrincat. I'd rather go Kopi, DeBrincat, and Cash. Oh, definitely one of the lines in Chicago are one of my favorites, too. You got a fishing pole?
Yeah.
I think Colorado one's definitely in play. They are on a back-to-back, so it does drop them a little bit for me, but this is a very good matchup for them from an offensive standpoint. Yeah, if I'm recommending Chicago. How do we beat max entry players tonight? Just win, baby. Like Cam Newton always says, if you don't want to see me dance in the end zone, don't let me score. Elliott is an okay GPP play. I don't really like using the Flyers goalies, but if you are using the Flyers, I think you can use them. Where's my boy Testosterone? Where's he at?
Right here.
I know he's in here. You playing Tom Wilson tonight? Oh, so that someone just mentioned something. A light bulb went off in my head. Carolina and Vegas are two of the teams who take some of the least penalties, or not too many penalties, 5-on-5. But this game has some whistle-happy referees, so that's something to keep in mind, especially if you're going to use Vegas. They might be on the power play more often than not. All right, guys, so I'm going to run. Did you hurt your finger? He hurt his finger. So I'm going to go. Good luck tonight. You can always at me on Twitter. I don't have any Buffalo tonight, but I'm just a one lineup guy. I do like them tonight, though. So I'm going to go. You can always at me on Twitter. I'll answer your questions. See me in the premium chat. See you later.